want to inspire all of you.
And all kinds of acting, theater. It's going to be a great couple of semesters.
Once in a lifetime.
They are your friends. They are my family.
Really? Whoa, all right. Now we're ready to rock and roll. Okay, if you are here, you're a student, and you want to have your attendance recorded, please stick around. We'll project a QR code at the end of the event. You can shoot it with your phone, fill out a little brief survey, and your professor will know that you were here today. If you don't see your professor's name listed in the app, then you can, there's a chance for you to fill out, to type in their name. So please go ahead and do that. I want to shout out our ASL interpreters tonight. Candace Whitkins here on the stage with me. The OG, Candace Whitkins. Thank you for being here, Candace. And also Andrew Sowers, who will be spelling Candace from time to time. Both of them, we really appreciate their work helping make sure that OC Live is fully accessible to everybody in our community. Thank you. And now it gives me great pleasure to introduce the organizer of tonight's program, very special program that is back on stage. This is our annual WEspeak program that has, you know, like all things, had to weather the pandemic the last few years. It's really exciting to have WEspeak back live on stage here in the Performing Arts Building. Let me introduce Professor Emily Zwall, who is the organizer of tonight's event.
Thank you. Thank you, Reiner. Welcome, everyone. Whew. Clearly, I don't need a mic. It's hard to see anyone out there. Welcome to our 6th annual WEspeak event. Yes, it's hard to believe we've been doing this now for 6 years. Can I get a show of hands from the audience, if I can actually see those hands? Who here has been to a WEspeak event in the past? Okay, great, but it looks like we've also got some newbies here. I think we have a soccer team in the house, I was told. Also, President Cobian, thank you for joining us tonight. And Dean Edwards, we really appreciate you taking time to be here and support our students. My name is Emily Zwall. I am a teacher here at OC, and I'm also one of the coordinators for this event. The idea of WEspeak was first conceived by one of OC's beloved teachers, English professor Jose Maldonado, who unfortunately is not able to be with us this evening. But he envisioned a forum that would elevate the voices of our students, where we could all come together to celebrate the unique stories from within our own beautiful community. With this vision, WEspeak was born, and since then, it is the students who have made this into the moving and powerful experience that we return to each year. WEspeak has gone on without fail since 2018, like Professor Mack said, including virtually throughout the pandemic. We're very excited to bring you these new and compelling stories from this year's stellar group of selected speakers. We're sure you're going to enjoy them. Not only that, but this year for the very first time, we are going to be inviting all of the speakers back out onto the stage after they've told their stories to engage with you audience members and allow you to ask them any questions that you might have. Before we do bring out the first storyteller, I would like to give a sincere thanks to Professor Samantha Marshall, Dr. Selena Benavides Black, and Professor Marcia Fulkerson, who gave their time, expertise, and care to working with our student speakers and preparing for this evening. Yes. And I would also like to show our great appreciation to Director Reiner Mack, our Technical Director Jeremy Haynes, and the OC Live team, also our ASL English interpreters, and all of those whose hard work made this night and every OC Live event possible. It's a big job, so they do deserve a big round of applause. Okay, now to get to the part you're here for. To kick off the evening, we are excited to bring back one of our former storytellers, Andrea Moreno Lara. Andrea first stood on the WEspeak stage back in 2019, and at that time she spoke of the internal conflicts that she struggled with as a university-bound student with strong bonds to her family and community, and the guilt that she felt of moving far away. But since that time, she's now graduated from UC Long Beach, and she's returning tonight to share with us about her journey these past 4 years since leaving OC. Please help me welcome Andrea back to the stage.
¿Se escucha? Probando, probando. Okay. A veces uno tiene que dejar el nido, volar, regresar al nido para poder ayudar a nuestros seres queridos. Sometimes you have to leave the net, fly away, prepare yourself, come back to the net, so in order to help our loved ones. Thumbs up, it does make sense. Thumbs up. Okay, perfect. I'm a Spanish teacher, so I like constantly checking for understanding. As mentioned, I'm a Spanish teacher. These are some pictures from last semester. I did a student teaching, and I'm done. I'm a new teacher, so if you know about a job, gracias. So if you know about a job, or you're a principal, there's a principal in the audience, please talk to me. I will appreciate it. I love being in the classroom. I love being in the classroom. And when people ask me, hey, what do you do? I say, I'm a teacher. And the first thing that they say is, oh, so you're an elementary teacher, a kindergarten teacher. I'm like, no, I'm a high school student. Oh, you're crazy. Yes, I'm crazy. I love working with high school students. I love being in the classroom. I was born and raised en Arandas, Jalisco, México, de la tierra del tequila, el mariachi y el son de la negra. Woo! I moved to the United States when I was 12 years old. Now I consider myself from Oxnard. I know I wasn't born here and I didn't grow up here, but I grew up here as a person. In this community, I grew up as a person. I find out who I am, and who I want to be. And I'm so proud of the people from Oxnard, for my community. Muy orgullosa de mi gente y más de mi gente que trabaja en el campo. Tengo un secreto. When I have a secret. When I say tengo un secreto, you're gonna lean forward and put your hand next to your ear. Ready? Tengo un secreto. Ah, muy bien. Me gusta. Excelente. This is not my first time on this stage. As mentioned, I was part of the OC WEspeak on 2019, but I also was part of the Ballet Folklorico. I did modern dance and contemporary. So I love being on this stage, and I like the connection of me with the public. So I'm happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me and having me here today. I remember my first time here at OC. I felt like una hormiguita chiquita, like a tiny ant. But I was nervous and excited. And now I look back and I know why. I met incredible people. Incredible and amazing people that inspire me, motivate me to give the best of me, dar lo mejor de mí, para ayudar a mi comunidad y a mí misma, que me enseñó mucho. I was part of different events here at campus, clubs, organizations, and I feel that these events, professors, and my friends here at OC prepare me for the next step of my life, to transfer to a four-year university. But my main focus was always to stay local. My plan was to transfer to CSUCI because I wanted to stay local for the reason that I'm the only child. My mom and my dad do not speak English. They don't speak English. And my mom works at a school cafeteria. My dad works in the fields. And so I didn't want to leave. I'm the only child, as mentioned, and I wanted to stay in order to help them. So help them translate, take my mom to her doctor's appointment, so my dad didn't have to ask for the day off. So I just wanted to stay, and I thought the better idea was to attend CSUCI. And also because I feel if I leave to another university, I was abandoning them. I had the feeling of guilty. Then I met Professor Maldonado. Some of you guys probably know him. I took 2 courses with him, and by that time, ASG had a field trip during the spring break to visit different schools. We visited Fullerton, Northridge, CSU San Diego, UC San Diego, and the last school that we visited, coming back home, was Cal State Long Beach. I love Long Beach. For the first time that I put a step on campus, I knew that something, una emoción, no sé, era algo diferente. That's why I recommend students that are planning to transfer or attend university to visit the school first, because you're gonna feel it. Vas a saber luego que ese es el lugar. So after visiting the campus, we went to downtown Long Beach, and Professor Maldonado asked me, ¿qué piensas? ¿Te gusta? ¿No te gusta? And I said, yeah, me gusta, pero vamos a ver qué pasa. You know, that's a typical answer where you're unsure. Ya veremos, a ver qué pasa. And Professor Maldonado already knew my situation. I didn't want to leave. And he told me, you know what, Andrea? Tienes que dejar el nido, prepararte y regresar al nido para ayudar a tus papás. Piensa en los sacrificios que ellos han hecho. Dejaron su país, su idioma, su familia para una mejor vida. So he basically told me that my parents made some sacrifices to have a better life. And that's when I realized that it was my turn to make the sacrifice of leaving them for a little bit to provide them something better in the future. And my main goal, have this in mind, my main goal is to buy them a house. So I attend Cal State Long Beach. I was happy, excited. I applied to 4 universities, got accepted to all except for Northridge because I didn't send my transcripts on time. But when I got that admissions letter from CSU Long Beach, I cried. I didn't even cry for the other schools. It was Long Beach, and I knew on that time that Long Beach was the place for me. I have amazing roommates. Probably some of you guys know one of them. She works here, or probably both of them. And let's see if you remember. Tengo un secreto. Ah, muy bien. Tenía pura party. And let me tell you why. And you will catch up the joke. Her name is Patty. Pura party. So in order for them to distinguish who I was talking to, I'll call her Patty and Patty. So Patty, I share a room with her, and every time that she sees me stressed or nervous or homesick, she will tell me, Andrea, it's gonna be okay. Todo va a estar bien. And now I think, I even have her voice in my mind when I think of this. Al final, todo está bien. Y si no está bien, es porque todavía no es el final. At the end, everything is going to be okay. And if it's not okay, then it's not the end yet. Gracias, Patty. Yo sé que estás por ahí. Te escuché. ¡Woo! Muy bien. At Cal State Long Beach, I was involved in different events, clubs. I don't know the name exactly, but I used to make the flyers and post it on social media. I was the vice president, too, of the Spanish Club at the beach, and for one semester, the president of the Spanish Club at the beach. I was also part of Teatro al Sur, basically drama, theater club, and events for my Spanish classes, in Independence Day and Dia de los Muertos. I always try to be involved. Then pandemic happened, and I had to come back home. And I know during COVID, everyone went through difficult times. In my case, since I'm the only child, I think for me, in my case, I was a little bit harder because I didn't have anyone to talk to. And by that time, my dad was gonna buy a trailita. We were planning to buy a trailita, but for some reason, solamente el de arriba sabe, it didn't work. So he got depressed, my mom got depressed, I got depressed too. Because since we moved to the United States, we were living in a garage. We've been living in a garage. So he was happy that we were gonna have our own place. It didn't work, and for some reason it didn't work. So I didn't have anyone to talk to until I felt alone, didn't have anyone to talk to. And then this beautiful person, started talking to me again. And I said again, because we've been knowing each other for 4 years. We met here at OC, we took a dance class together. And tengo otro secreto. Okay. He says that the first time that he saw me, when he came into the classroom, it was love at first sight. Even that we were not dating. He used to call me wifey. My wifey. Él hablándome de wifey y yo ni en cuenta. So now I talk to him, we start dating, and otro secreto. Tengo otro secreto. He waited 2 years for me to accept being her girlfriend. So I feel that support in René emocionalmente y con mi familia. Because when I'm not here at Oxnard, and my mom has a doctor appointment, and he's available, he's not at school or work, he will take her. I also feel I have a picture of his family. I'm blessed for that because they treat me, they approve me. And they bring a second family to me. Ya no me siento sola. I now even know what it is to have brothers thanks to these two. And yeah. Now I graduated from Cal State Long Beach. In 2019, with my BA in Spanish, I entered to the credential program. And I hope I'm learning to celebrate each achievement or success that I have, even the small ones. Because I remember sending this picture to Professor Maldonado, and he told me, "How do you feel?" And I was like, "I feel okay, I feel happy, but I'm not where I want to be yet." I used to think that I would feel success when I get to the point of buying my parents a house, but I'm learning to feel happy and celebrate those little things that will take me to that goal. And that's as a teacher, I want to teach that to my students. I don't want to just teach the language, but also to feel proud of the small things that they do. For example, if they come into the classroom and say, "Hola, señorita Moreno," feel proud for that. And today, I feel proud of myself. I celebrate that I'm here on stage giving this speech in English. Because the first time that I did it was in Spanish. And now I'm doing it in English. And then you can tell English is my second language. And I'm proud of it, and I'm proud of my acento. Gracias. So I'm celebrating that. I want to make my parents proud. I want to make this girl proud too. And now I know que al final todo va a estar bien. Y si no está bien, es que no es el final. Gracias.
Our next storyteller of the evening is Esteban Rosas. Sometimes we encounter moments in life where we must make difficult choices that have the potential to significantly impact our futures. Esteban was faced with such a choice at a pivotal moment in his young life, and it was the courage and the foresight he had in this moment that led him to where he proudly stands today. Please join me in welcoming Esteban.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for being here. I'm glad you can make it tonight. So let me tell you a little bit about myself. I got out of the Marines in 2019. I did 26 years of faithful and honorable service to our beloved country. Thank you. I did 5 deployments. One of the deployments was a combat deployment, which I did to Afghanistan. I went with 2nd Recon. 2nd Recon is the special forces for the Marines. Kind of like the Navy SEALs is for the Navy, Recon is for the Marines. Now, I myself, I'm not a Recon Marine, but because of my expertise and my job, I learned how to fix sniper rifles, machine guns, and grenade launchers. So I went with Recon to Afghanistan because they needed my job skills. And we were also in Afghanistan when Osama bin Laden was killed. So now that I told you a little bit about myself, let me tell you about how I came to this country. So my grandfather, Jesus Mireles, he grew up in a little ranch called Santiago Capitiro. It's in Guanajuato, Mexico. And back in that time, education was pretty much non-existent in the little ranch that he grew up. So he could barely read and write. But he knew that the United States was a land of opportunity, and he wanted to give that opportunity to me, to his grandchildren. So he knew that there was a program where you can come to the United States and you can work in the fields. So that's what he did. He would come to the fields and he would work here for months at a time, and then he would travel back to Mexico. Now keep in mind that when he would leave to come to the US for months at a time, he would leave behind my grandmother, Maria Mireles. So that's just a little bit of the sacrifice that some grandparents do in order to give us a better future, and I'm grateful for that. So I'm growing up, we moved to a trailer park here in the United States at 1301 Commercial Avenue. Now, some of you in the audience, you might live there now, or you know where this is at. But back in the 80s and 90s, it was a whole different scenario. There was a lot of bad things going on there. I'm going to tell you a couple stories. I'm not going to tell you all of them because I'd be here all night telling you stories, but I'm only going to pick a few. So there was one instance where I'm coming home from school, and I'm walking down the trailer park, and I look to the right, and I see people shooting up heroin on the front steps right outside where kids can see. I look to the left, I see people sniffing paint. I look to the left, I see people doing drugs. Just daily occurrence. Another scenario is, I was walking by the drug house or a drug trailer. And in this drug trailer, the drug dealer was a big guy. I mean, this guy was big, huge. He was buff. He was a big guy. And he got into a disagreement with one of his customers. And they ended up getting in a fight. The customer falls to the ground, and then the drug dealer just basically, he just starts commencing to just kick him, and he's kicking him with all his might. Now, the drug dealer was wearing these steel-toe boots, and he's hitting him, and he's kicking him, and he's kicking him. I had never heard a man wail and scream like I did that day. It stays in your mind. It sends chills down your spine. Because that man probably felt that he was going to die that day. His life was ending, and his mind was trying to cope with the situation. It's just something that stuck with me. There's another instance where I'm coming home from school, and there's a mother, and she's running from one trailer to the next, and then to the next. And she's yelling and screaming like I had never heard a woman yell and scream before. Now, I'm not trying to make fun, but we all heard of La Llorona. It's a story where a mother is crying, is never-ending crying over her dead children. Well, that's what I heard that day. I heard that mother crying out for her child, because later I found out that the police had killed her son by mistaken identity. It was just a tragic situation. So living in the trailer park, there's over 100 trailers. That comes with 100 different families. Now with the families comes children. So the pecking order is in full effect. Me, I've always been the shortest kid anywhere that I'm at. I'm always the shortest kid. So kids are always there to try and test me. So I got into a lot of fights growing up. I didn't win them all, but I didn't lose them all either. But it got to the point where I said, you know what, I need to learn how to defend myself. So I wanted to take boxing lessons. Now, luckily for me, Robert Garcia, he also grew in the same trailer park. We grew up in the same trailer park at the same time. And I had heard that he was going to La Colonia boxing gym. Not only that, but his father, Don Garcia, he's a great boxing coach. So that's the gym that I wanted to go to. There was a boxing gym that was closer to the trailer park, but I wanted to walk the extra mile or two to go to La Colonia because I wanted to learn how to box from the best. So I'm at the boxing gym, and I'm learning, I'm sparring, getting getting my boxing. About a month or two later, Fernando Vargas, another Oxnard boxing champion, he comes to the boxing gym. So he's there for about a month, working out. So Don Garcia puts Fernando Vargas and myself in the ring for the first time for us to spar. So we're training, we're doing our boxing thing. Why am I telling you this? I'm telling you this because out of that trailer park, even though there was a lot of bad things going on, we still ended up producing a lot of good members of society. Not only that, but Oxnard as a whole, we produce a lot of great boxers. And we produce a lot of great people, but I'm only focusing on boxing today. So that's something that Oxnard, you all should be proud of, that y'all produce some great boxers. And as you can see on the screen, thank you. As you can see on the screen, that friendship that I had from them, I've not seen them for many years. Robert Garcia and his brother Mikey reached out to me, and we had a little get together. So during this time, I'm also watching a lot of History Channel, and I'm compelled by World War II. Like I'm just compelled to watch World War II. That was when Japan and Germany and other countries they wanted to take over the world, and we as the United States, we were kind of like, well, you know what? That's going on over there. It's overseas. It's not our problem. We're not going to worry about it. Okay, great. December 7, 1941, is where Japan bombed us at Pearl Harbor, and that's what brought the United States into the war. So I'm continuing to watch the History Channel, and I see that these young men are signing up to go fight in a foreign country, go fight in Iwo Jima, go fight in Normandy, and the beaches of France. And these young men, I'm not going to know, obviously, not all their faces, and I'm not going to know all their names, but these young men laid down their only life that they had in order for us to have freedom. Now, what does that mean? To me, that means, of course, the one life that they had, they gave it up in order for us to have freedom, in order for us to enjoy a world where Germany and Japan were not going to be in charge of the United States. During this time frame, I'm going to Haydock Junior High, which is now Dr. Manuel Lopez School. And back in the 80s and 90s, gangs was a really big thing. It was a horrible time. So a couple of the teachers got together, and they wanted to come and have some gang members from Los Angeles come and talk to us. So I signed up. I wanted to go hear them speak. So I went there, and some of the gang members come in, but there's one gang member, this guy, he rolled in as he's coming to talk to us. And I'm like, wow, look at the wheels on this guy. And I know what you're thinking, right? He rolled in on a lowrider, right? No. He rolled in on a wheelchair. Because during a drive-by, he got shot in the spine, and he was paralyzed. So I listened to them talk. And I'm listening to him say, how bad it is in prison, how there's no future in it, how you're going to either end up dead or paralyzed. And I understood that was not the correct path, but I just needed a little bit of a nudge. And that's why I thank those teachers that put that talk together back in that day, because that is the little push that I needed in order for me to see the light, in order for me to choose that path that my grandfather came to this country to give me a better life, and I'm not going to waste it. So now I'm about 17, and I wanted to repay our country for allowing me to have the opportunity to fulfill the American dream. So I wanted to give back something to our country. So I enlisted in the Marines, and I was only going to do 4 years. But when I got in, I enjoyed how hard it was, the camaraderie, just the difficult, the stress, the training. I just enjoyed it. So I stayed in for 26 years. And like I said, I retired after 26 years as a master sergeant. And luckily for me, it rubbed off. It rubbed off on my son, because my son, Esteban Rosas, he also enlisted in the Marines. And that is a day where my wife and I promoted him corporal. That's what you see on the picture. Now, before I leave you tonight, if I can ask you guys to do one thing for me. My son Ethan, he's in the audience. Today is his birthday. Today he's 20 years old. So hold on a moment. So when I count to three, I want you to say, happy birthday, Ethan. But I want you to say it loud enough. I want you to blow his eardrums out because I want him to be in the ER. I want him to end up in the ER, okay? So on the count of three, we're going to say happy birthday, Ethan. 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday. Thank you so much. With that, have a good night.
Say Ethan. I didn't get to say it. Yes. Our next speaker has enough stories to fill this entire evening. And believe me, you're going to want to hear more about all of them by the time she's finished. But life has thrown more than any person's fair share of obstacles in the way of Kat Sanden. Yet she is a true example of resiliency, determination, and the power of the human spirit to adapt, overcome, and keep on smiling. Please give a warm welcome to Kat.
Let's do a short exercise together. Should close your eyes, take a deep breath, and imagine yourself standing at the end of a long, dark tunnel. Now, at the end of that tunnel, you see a light. How much light do you see? And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. For me, that light was a pinprick. So small and so tiny. Couldn't see it. I knew it was there. Now, I've always been a very active person. I've been dancing basically before I could walk. Weight trainer, cheerleader, I could ride a horse, right? When I was 22, I was in a job-related injury. And that triggered my first struggle with fibromyalgia. Now, in a nutshell, fibromyalgia is basically a lot of muscle pain and a lot of tenderness. It's called fibroflare. It's equal to basically a very painful workout or even a really bad case of the flu where your body's just, you don't want to go anywhere, you don't want to do anything. It also is accompanied by fatigue, sleep disorders, chronic pain, and a lot of depression. It's also called fibrofog, where you can't focus, you have problems retaining information, and you're just very, very forgetful. I'm still that way today. Now, I was in a lot of pain, I was out of work, and I was taking a lot of my meds just to help manage my pain. Now, my doctor, he told me I was crazy because he couldn't find anything wrong with me. So I decided I wanted off those meds. And I went to him, I'm like, send me to physical therapy. And he's like, why? It's not going to do you any good. There's nothing wrong with you. And I fought with him. I was relentless about it. He gave in, sent me to physical therapy. So I go to physical therapy, and I'm explaining to the physical therapist what my problem is. And she's like, sounds like you got fibromyalgia. I was like, what is that? So she did pressure points. And at the time, there were 6 points on the body between the neck and the hips that you can touch. Now, you touch those points, and it just radiates pain throughout your whole body. Those very specific points. The rest of my body, not so much. Those specific points, yeah. And at the time, little to nothing was known about fibromyalgia. So I did a lot of research, and I found out that I could manage it with diet and exercise. So I changed my eating habits. No red meats, no sugars, no gluten, no strawberries, pineapples, citrus, blueberries. Basically, there's very little left for me to eat after I omitted a lot of the foods. I was seeing a weight trainer and a chiropractor, and within a few months, I was back to dancing, back to my regular self. I was off my meds. I learned how to water ski. I learned how to snow ski. I became a Le Cordon Bleu chef, and I was going to BC. I was going to be an organic and biochemistry major. In 2010, I was a casualty of a really bad car accident, and that reshaped my life forever. The fibro pain was so bad, I had to quit my job. I couldn't stand, couldn't sit, couldn't lay down, more than 15 or 20 minutes at a time. The fibro fog, there were days I couldn't even tell you my own name. Forget about chemical compounds, I quit school. I was a care provider for my mom. I was in marathon training. I was going to the gym 4 times a week. I went from that to hiding in my closet every day. The depression got so bad. And I was angry. I was angry all the time. It was ugly. I was seeing a psychiatrist, I was seeing a therapist, and I was in group therapy. I was diagnosed as bipolar, OCD, anxiety, and a lot of depression. I was on a cocktail of 5 different meds 3 times a day just to help manage the pain and the anxiety. Pain never went away. My doctor said, you will never be off these meds. You're going to take these meds the rest of your life. Now, I'm an advocate for therapy. I think therapy is helpful for everyone. But at the time, I struggled with therapy because I didn't see how it was relevant to me until I did that tunnel exercise. That's when I realized that therapy has given me the tools I needed every day just to go out and face the world. It also made me realize that I was in a really dark and ugly space that I couldn't afford to be complacent in anymore. Now, my biggest obstacle holding me back was that I was trying to be that person before my car accident. And I had to come to terms with the fact that I would never be that person ever again. So I started building my life around my limits. And it became easier to heal. My motto is adapt and overcome. Still is. I had to change my perspective. I had to find the joy in what life was giving me every day, as opposed to, why is this happening to me? I celebrate every success, no matter how small or how tiny. I got out of bed today. That deserves to be celebrated. Not everybody can do that. And every little step equals one big leap. I started swimming, doing yoga. I got off 3 of the meds. And it was 3 years of really hard work and determination and a lot of positive attitude, smiling every day. And my doctor uses me as a guideline for all of his other fibromyalgia patients. And in 2019, I started to decline again. My fingers were falling asleep. My arms were falling asleep. I was dropping things. I tapped out. I told him, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm tired of fighting. Don't want to fight. He's like, give me 1 month. Give me 1 month. Let me find out what's going on. I gave him his month. I found out spinal stenosis. So if you see here where this arrow is, that's my spinal cord. My spine was breaking down so hard and so fast that I was putting pressure on my spinal cord, and I wasn't getting enough fluid to my brain. At this point in my life, I got this. I can handle this. This is nothing, right? I went in for surgery. Actually, I put my surgery off for like 3 months because I was in the middle of a school semester and I was in it. But he told me, don't fall down, don't lift your hands over your head, don't get in a car accident because you could potentially become paralyzed because of this. I went to Magic Mountain the night before my surgery. Didn't know if that was gonna be the last time I'd ever ride a roller coaster ever again. And besides, I mean, if I ended up in the emergency room, what's the worst that could happen? I'd have to go in for surgery the next day anyway. This is what's inside of me. It's a titanium plate and 8 screws. This is what's holding me together. This is what it looks like. I was in a neck brace for 3 months. And it took me 2 years to effectively heal from this surgery. And my health, it peaks and it valleys. I have great days where I feel I can climb a mountain, and there's other days where I'm not even rolling out of bed, guys. This is where I'm at. But I'm blessed every day. And I'm grateful every day for the fact that I'm still here. My light at the end of the tunnel, it's not that little tiny speck anymore. But one day, I'm going to be able to take that speck and make it into a doorway and walk my way out of this. Thank you.
Our last story of the evening contains an important message about opening one's mind and heart to the unknown and embracing a new way of life. But the story Sylvia Ponce is going to share with you tonight is not only hers. She has chosen to stand here with all of you on behalf of the person she holds the most dear to her, her son. Please help me in welcoming our final speaker, Sylvia.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. I'm Sylvia. I'm going to start the evening today with one of my favorite quotes. God give his toughest battle to his strongest soldiers. And I want you to think about the quote as I'm telling you my story. And you will see why it's my favorite quote. Okay. So the first picture, that's wild-free Sylvia. Second picture, pregnant Sylvia. No more freedom. Third picture, that's Sylvia as a mom. So it was November of 2020, and I found out I was pregnant. My first child. I was excited. I couldn't believe it. It was just great news. I had always told my mom, you're not getting grandkids from me. I have 5 sisters. They can all give you grandkids. You're going to have a dog as a grandkid for me. So I called her and I told her. She cried with me. She was happy. All my sisters were excited. It was great news for me. I was entering the world of motherhood. One mom is not excited. Any moms in here can relate to that feeling, I'm sure. Well, fast forward to June 2021, Sebastian decided that at 37 weeks, he was ready to come. He was like, Mom, I give you enough time to prepare. I'm ready to meet you guys. The first picture, that's when he was first born. That's his dad holding him. And then me, when I saw him for the first time. I landed eyes on him. It was love at first sight. I thought I knew what love it was. No, when I got to hold that little angel in my arms, I found out what true love was. Unfortunately, it wasn't everything happy. We got the news that he had jaundice, and he had to stay in the hospital. The first picture is him under the lights because of his jaundice levels. We left the hospital without him. I was devastated. I cried. I was hormonal. I had just given birth to him, and you're telling me I can't take him home? I was sad and angry. I had mixed feelings of the situation. I had to leave my human being that came out of me in the hospital. He stayed in the hospital for about 3 days until we got a phone call. He's ready to come home, you know? And I was excited. I was like, oh, yes, I'm going to hold my son again. We're going to do great. Unfortunately, he didn't pass the newborn hearing screen. So that was another worry we had. They said, you have to take him back to get retested. We can't just leave it like that. We took him to the audiologist. He was about 2 weeks old. They did the test, and they told us, we can't give you an answer. We don't know. It's unclear. You have to come back again. Between August 2021 and March 2022, we were going to the audiologist about 3 to 4 times, and they can never give us an answer about him. They were said, oh, well, if we compare it to the last test, we're unsure. We can't tell you if he really has a hearing loss. So for about 10 months, we didn't have a clear answer, which was driving me crazy. You're telling me you don't know if my son can hear me or not, and I'm talking to him the whole time? Finally, March 2022, they told us news no parent is ready for. They did the testing. The doctor talked to us and said, yes, your son has bilateral hearing loss. We can't tell you the level of the loss, but he does have it. My heart dropped. It was unfortunate. I couldn't believe it. Who wants that for their kids? Nobody. Nobody's ready for those news. I have never had interaction with a deaf person. I didn't know nothing about deafness. So after that, we got referred to UCLA Health, and we got services through Ventura Unified, Early Start. And on June 8, 2022, which was my husband's birthday, we had to take him to the hospital and put him to sleep to get an ABR. So an ABR is they put him to sleep under anesthesia so they can see the responses of the brain. And that same day, they gave us the results. They said, yes, he has bilateral hearing loss, and it's profound to severe. So pretty much deaf. That's what they told us. I was kind of happy that we got an answer, but I was feeling lost, sad, angry. I had dreams and plans for my son. I wanted to teach him Spanish, to dance, because I love to dance. I love music. I wanted to teach him about the world, and it turns out I had to teach the world about my son, because nobody really understands him 100%. I was naive and ignorant about deafness. I was angry, mad. I had a hard time accepting that my son was deaf. And I would ask myself, how am I supposed to raise this child if I can't communicate with him? He can't hear me. I was lonely. I had no one to vent to or relate to, because the few people that would talk about it, they would say, oh, he'll be fine. You get some hearing aids and it's fixed. They really didn't have an idea of what this was. So that wasn't really helpful for me. I needed someone to tell me, Sylvia, you can learn sign language. You can talk to him through sign language. It's going to be challenging, but you got this. No, instead they wanted to say, oh, no, hearing aids, we'll fix it for you. I don't have any family here. My family is all in Mexico. I'm grateful for my husband's family that were very supportive, and until this day, I can count on them. His grandma already signed up for ASL. She's trying to learn. I was in denial for about 6 months. I was depressed. I wouldn't say anything, but I was depressed. It was new to me. I didn't think I could do it. I was doubting myself. But then I had to talk to myself and be like, okay, Sylvia, you've been through worse. You passed all the challenges in your life for a reason, and you're scared of this? In 2003, I lost my dad. I was 13 years old. I saw when they were taking him out of my house and trying to do CPR on him. Unfortunately, he passed out in the ER. I didn't get to say goodbye to him. I had to go back to Mexico with my mom. That picture, it's me at 15 years old working at a hamburger stand instead of going to school. So from 13 to 17, I was working instead of going to school. There was no money for me to go to school. I had to help. 17, I had the opportunity to come back to the United States because I was born here. And I started high school at 17. Graduated when I was 20. Then went to community college, got my associate's degree, and transferred over to Fresno State. And I got my bachelor's degree in criminology in 2017. And after that, I got hired as a juvenile detention officer for probation. I was doing good for myself. I was living comfortable. I was making good money. And one day, everything changed. I became the mom of a deaf child. And I realized I have a new purpose in life. God knew I was capable of dealing with it. He knew what I could do. He knew how much love I had on me to give my child, and he knew I was going to figure it out. All the difficulties that I passed in my life prepared me for this moment and this challenge. And I realized my son's deafness, it was a blessing in my life. He's teaching me to enjoy life in a different way that I would not know. He's introducing me to a whole new world that I never knew before. And I'm here to tell you, deafness is not a disability. It might be a disadvantage, just like me when I came to this country not knowing the language. It was just a disadvantage that I have compared to others. As a family, we decided we don't want to do the cochlear implant just because it doesn't work all the time. We want him to make that decision for himself. Later on, if he comes to me and says, Mom, I want to get it, go ahead. I will support you 100%. It's your body, your decision. Instead, we're learning ASL in the house. I'm currently taking ASL 1 here at Oxnard College. And I would encourage you, all of you, to take that class because you're not just going to learn a language. They're going to teach you about a whole new culture that we don't even know. And I love it. I can say I enjoy 3 different cultures, 3 different languages. I became trilingual. And I'm here to spread awareness and knowledge of what it is when you come across a deaf person. I would like to teach you guys a few signs. Very simple. Next time you come across a deaf person, you can communicate with them in their language because they will be grateful that you made the effort. And because I want to create that for my son when he comes across a person, I want them not to look at him weird. So the first one is hello. Second one is nice. To me, you. The deaf clap. And that's my son. Can we play the video? He's signing shoes. Signing an apple. What's this? What is it? Hey, what's that? Currently, he's signing about 80 words. His first sign was dog for some reason. But he did sign mom to me, and the first time I saw it, oh my God, I cried. It was beautiful. That's us. Right now, I took him to Mexico to see my family. His dad signing to him, they're reading together. So the reading is a little bit different for us. We don't know how to read in sign language, so we just sign the pictures of the book. So that's the way of reading to him. The last picture, it's a deaf event. I took him for Christmas. So Santa Claus is a deaf Santa Claus. And as of right now, I would like to invite my son to the stage so you guys can meet him. Oh, say hi. Say hi. That's Sebastian, 21 months old. He's deaf. And I'm proud to be a deaf mom. Thank you all for being here. Thank you.
We all know the deaf clap. So I hope you all are doing it. I cannot see you. So thank you very much again for coming out tonight. That concludes our stories. But as I said at the beginning of the show, we're going to try something new tonight based on feedback that we've received in previous year. Audience members have told us they would have liked to have been able to ask questions of our storytellers. So we're going to give it a shot. I'm going to invite them back out onto the stage. And while they're getting set up, why don't you think about if you have anything that you want to say to them or if you have any questions for them. And if you do, we will have 2 microphones stationed on the side. Well, 2 professors stationed on the side with microphones. So please line up on either side if you'd like to ask or say something. And we're going to see if we can get the lighting adjusted a little bit here for this portion so we can actually see who's asking the questions. Perfect, that's better. Yeah. Well, before we do begin, I think that we've got all 4 of you up here. It's time to give you all a round of applause for your incredible stories and the courage it took to stand up here. It's not easy to do what they just did. You all just shared some really powerful stories with us, but standing on a stage and telling it to an audience of people is an experience and a story in and of itself. So I'm going to start off with the first question, and then we'll hand it over to our audience members. Can you talk to us a little bit about what it's been like for you being a WEspeaker? And feel free, anyone, to jump in, or we can work down the line.
He's turning on the mics. Can y'all hear me now? Thank you. Question was on how do we feel as we speak as speakers?
It's just going through this experience from start to finish, all the work leading up to it, to standing on the stage tonight. Can you talk a little bit about what that was like for you?
So I enjoyed coming to speak to y'all and just learning from all the other people that are on stage. I would hear them tell their story, and it just compelled to. It told me that we all have a story to tell, even the people in the audience. But it's just that us were chosen to give our time and space to come and talk to y'all. So there was preparatory that we did, and I feel very happy that we're here to talk to y'all. Some of us missed some of our talking points in the speech, but we're glad that we did it.
Why give away trade secrets? For me, it was a lesson in self-discovery. I learned a lot about myself and who I am, where I've come from, and where I'm going. So that's how it was for me.
For me, it was amazing. I love the fact that I have space to talk about it. This is the first time I actually talk about the story because I wasn't ready. And I feel like now I accepted it, and I think I can teach people something about it. They can take something good of the story. And I would encourage other students to get up and tell their stories because you can change somebody's life. You don't even know it.
For me, this was my second time. So I was excited to be back and especially to share my story now that I'm finished, I'm done with school. So maybe you're not the only child, but maybe you're a first generation. So I wanted to share with you that it's possible, que sí se puede.
I'm sure there's a lot of people in the room that can resonate with you or one or more of your stories here. Yeah. Okay, well, let's turn it over to the audience. I'm not sure who lined up first, but okay. Thank you. Please go ahead.
Hello. Hi, my name is Viridiana Durán. Hola, mi nombre es Viridiana. Yo quisiera darle unas palabras a Andrea. Andrea, yo la conocí cuando ella recién llegó de México, o ya tenía aquí un año en la preparatoria. Yo era tutora para el programa Migrante, para estudiantes que venían de México y que estaban aprendiendo inglés. Yo también vine de México a los 13 años y entonces para mí trabajar con estos estudiantes pues me llenaba de orgullo y de emoción poder dar, regresar, ¿verdad?, la ayuda que me dieron a mí, a nuevos estudiantes que querían salir adelante. Andrea, la verdad, estar aquí, escuchar su historia, me llena de orgullo que haya podido salir adelante, que desde que la vi, desde que estaba en la high school, yo sabía que ella iba a llegar muy alto, siempre con ese optimismo, con esa sonrisa que la caracteriza, y una muy buena muchacha, muy buena hija. Y yo sé que vas a encontrar un trabajo muy pronto, que vas a ser una gran maestra y me llena mucho orgullo decir que fui tu tutora. Y pues échale ganas siempre y sabes que aquí estoy para apoyarte y pues vamos a ser colegas muy pronto. Pues nada, muchas felicidades por todos tus logros y sigue adelante siempre. Siempre hay que dar, ¿verdad? Hay que seguir dando a la comunidad y a nuestros estudiantes, darles lo mejor de nosotros para que sigan nuestro ejemplo y sigan adelante. Gracias. Felicidades.
Good idea. Let's go back and forth on the sides here.
Hi, my name's Jesus, and I got a question. How many years have you been to school for? To the teacher?
It's a lot of years.
With high school, community college, and university, about 8 years. 8 years. It sounds like a lot. It sounds like a lot, but trust me, they go fast, by fast.
We do have one other question over here, if we can.
Why did you go back to school?
Was it question 2?
This is a question for Mr. Rosas.
Thank you for the question. So the question was, why did I come back to school? I came back to school because I enjoy learning, and I'm using the Montgomery GI Bill, which is a program that I paid into. So I'm continuing my education, and I just enjoy learning from other people and from my professors, and I'm just happy to be learning at this time. Thank you.
Great question.
Hello, my name is Veronica Rosas, my spouse, Esteban Rosas. I came here to see what my husband was gonna do on stage, not knowing that I needed to bring tissues. Sheesh, you guys, you all had me in tears, goodness. Wow, you guys did an amazing job. The ASL, to both of you. You both had me in tears as well. You all did an amazing job. Your fibromyalgia, trust me, I feel your pain. I had to scrape myself out of bed to be here, but I did it. I cried through your whole speech. Andrea, si se puede. Mother, you got this.
Thank you.
You got this. And to all you beautiful teachers, familias, everybody in here that came to watch our speakers, our students speak, I thank you so much for being here, for bringing the little ones, all you little ones here. Thank you for coming here. Thank you for being quiet. Thank you for being patient. You don't know how important it is for your future to pay attention and listen to these old people talk. Yes, it does mean something. It does mean something, and it does mean something for your future. I appreciate you all immensely. I truly do. I really have a lot of questions for you. Yes, you. Yes. Afterward. Okay. I just want to say from the bottom of my heart to all of you, thank you, thank you, thank you. This was my first speak attendance. I really enjoyed it. It's amazing, amazing. I think I'm gonna bring tissues next time, probably like a crate if anybody's coming. I'll bring some for you too. Just amazing. I had no idea. I really didn't. It's amazing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have to give tissues out at the door. Do we have any other questions from the audience? Yes?
Hi, my name is Saul. I actually know Esteban from like maybe 4 classes we've had together, and every now and then I hear him talk, and like always, I have a comment and he has a comment, and it sometimes differs or is the same thing, like today. But it's not more like a question, it's more like a thank you for showing your, confidence for coming up to stage. A lot of people don't have the ability to do like public speaking, and for the people that can do it, I commend you, because I can do it as well, but I didn't get asked to talk on there, so like whatever. No, I'm just kidding. But for me, Esteban, you and I, we like come from different worlds, but we are like the same, because you went to the Marines. I was forced, and my brother was forced to be in the Mexican military when we grew up in Mexico. So like, you know, there's that really shitty thing, but like, don't worry about it. But you know, like, I appreciate you, and I'm so glad that I met you in OC. Thank you.
There's always next year, too. And we're always looking for speakers. So if there's anybody sitting in the audience right now that thinks that you might see yourself up here, you have questions about what it looks like, the process, what it takes to prepare, you can reach out to me. I'm Emily Zwall. Any of our names on the program, right? I'm sure we can connect you with the right people to get you going. But yes, we're always in need of a speaker. So please reach out next year or keep an eye out for when we put out the call. Yeah.
Hello, my name is Vincent Lopez, or Vicente. A lot of people can't pronounce it for some reason. I didn't want to come today, to be honest. I just came because of extra credit for Maria Fulkerson. I don't know if she's here, for oral comm. But I kind of actually connected with all of you. First, you. Well, actually, yeah, you. I'm a Marine too. I got out in 2017. I got in 2013. Did my 4 years. Born and raised here. After the Marines, I came over here to school as well. I had a girlfriend at the time, and I recently moved to Texas in 2021 with her, and I got a house out there. And this relates to you, Andrea. I moved away from my family. All my family's from here, so it was pretty hard for me for that time. She left me. I'm back over here now, just trying to finish my school, trying to major in psychology and minor in music. And this relates to you. I cannot imagine being deaf. Like, honestly, music is everything to me. To be honest, it's taken me out of some dark places. So yeah, you're very strong. I commend you for that. I respect you for that.
Thank you. There was a point where I feel guilty about enjoying music.
Yeah, me too. At times. It takes me out of this world, but anyways, back to you. I didn't want to go to therapy when I got out of the Marine Corps. I had a lot of problems. I lost one of my Marines. I got out as a corporal and kind of blamed myself for that. And it didn't relate to me, therapy, until I did the STARE program. I don't know if you know what that is. Even after that, it helped for a bit. I was on medication and stuff, and I kind of said, for lack of a better word, screw it. I want to take my own way and see if I could find a different way to, cope with that, stress and, mental problems, holistically. So, yeah, I just want to say I appreciate it. Like I said, I don't want to come. And I'm grateful that I came. I connected with all of you. So I appreciate that very much. Thank you.
Hi,
I just want to say to all of you, I commend you all. You guys are all survivors, and thank you for sharing your stories. I can't say that I specifically can relate to the mom, but as a mother, I know what it's like. I have a child who's 21 now who has ADHD, and he was diagnosed with Asperger autism. I was in denial. I came from a very proud family that was, that it must have been you or him. I smoked pot back in the days. Oh, you guys are druggies. I heard it all. And there were so many obstacles because he was so delayed. He wouldn't speak. He delayed in walking. He delayed in talking, potty training, you name it. It was a lot of frustration. Caused a lot of blaming on one another with me and my spouse. And I did a lot of searching and thinking on my own, and I just said, to hell with everybody else, I'm gonna do what I need to do for my son. And I had to advocate for him because the two older ones were succeeding. I had one that was honor students, and so I had to make sure that he didn't feel segregated within his own family. And just to put it gently, the school district of Oxford, I'm sorry if anybody's here, they hated me, okay? Because I was that mom that was there every preschool, kindergarten, all the way to high school. And it took a while, but I just kept on, and I refused to treat him differently than his brothers. And I can't, it doesn't compare with death, but like I said, I would not treat him any other differently than his brothers. And at the end, he's 21 now, he drives, he speaks. I was at the new car, and he's probably going to kill me if he knows I'm saying this about him. But there's hope. You just got to keep advocating. You got to get, like how you said, today I didn't even recognize it, and you make me want to go and take a class of this. I know one of my coworkers did, and I was like, I live in Oxford. They're going to think I'm flashing gang signs or something. Like, no, you could do it. So I just wanted to commend you all, but you especially for your son.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Good evening. My name is Esteban Rosas. I was going to go to my work. I brought the little kids. I basically talked to a few of the coaches, and we got the invitation from Mr. Rosas. I've known Mr. Rosas practically since we're little kids, and he reached out today and said, "Hey, hope you can make it out. I'm gonna talk about what it was like growing up in 1301, as we call it, or Las Trailas."
Las Trailas.
Yeah, Las Trailas. So, when I see the four individuals, up in the stage, I see very successful people. If it's finishing, their degree, if it's waking up every day and having that smile on your face every day, you're winning the day. If it's 26 years, in the service, coming back and being successful, and giving back. I just have, I do have some of my former students out in the audience. I was able to graciously greet them when they were coming in. They're individuals that are barely starting a career, or we have our little ones who are in third grade, sorry guys. Any words of wisdom that you guys may have for, if it's, our current students, if it's our little ones, that you guys can have, for them, because, one of the things that I got, is that you've all encountered obstacles and you've overcome every obstacle that you faced, and, right now you're all successful.
The advice I would have for the children is, I know it's hard, but you have to try and listen to, I think as my wife said, us old people. Just we're not necessarily smarter, but we just have a lot more experience on life. So just try and listen to the advice that we give you, and try and lead you down that proper path.
To the current college students, don't give up. And I know there's situations that you're going through. See the positive to take out of it, always.
I will say like Sylvia said, but I will say it as we say it in Jalisco, no te rajes. No te rajes, don't give up. Follow those dreams, and as mentioned in my presentation, always remember that it will be okay. Always remember that. I think Patty's over there. Patty, raise your hand. Thank you, Patty. Remember that it will be okay. At the end, it will be okay. If it's not okay, then it's not the end yet. Always fight for those dreams. Sí va a estar difícil, puede llegar a estar difícil, pero se puede todo.
I guess I'm supposed to say something. Don't give up. Never give up. Advocate, educate, and be proud of yourself.
Hola, buenas noches. Mi nombre es Andrea Moreno. Quiero felicitar a todas las personas que estuvieron esta noche aquí, agradecerles por sus historias. Es para Andrea Moreno. Pienso que no tengo muchas cosas que decirle porque ella tiene bien definido lo que quiere, hacia dónde va, y felicitarla y decirle que siempre vamos a estar ahí apoyándote, lo que te falte, tus logros, tus metas, y cuenta con tu mamá y conmigo para lo que sea. Recuerda, no olvides tus raíces, de dónde vienes y quiénes somos.
Okay. No other questions or comments? I think that was the perfect way to end the evening. Oh, we have one more. Go ahead.
Hi, Emilio.
Emilio. It's very important. Thank you. Yes, go ahead.
My name is Maria, and I want to ask for my son Santiago, for mom. He's shy, but anyways, he's always been, since he was smaller, I mean, he's still small, 9 years, he always has his thing on his head that when he grows up, he wants to be a police officer. And I always tell him, if that's what you want to be, you know, like, I'm always going to be next to you, push you, don't give up, because even though sometimes he's a third grader, he'll be like, oh, school again? And I'm like, well, if you want to be a police officer, you have to go to school for a few years. His attitude is really strong, so I'm like, I don't know if you should be a police officer or be something else, because, yeah, he's pretty spicy on that. So, yeah. So, regarding the probation officer, how long did it take you? Is it more years to be a police officer, or is it something similar to go to school?
No, to become a police officer is actually shorter. All you have to do is have a high school diploma, and then you go to the academy.
Because it should be, what I heard, I think it should be, it could be 21 and over, right? As long as they're 21, they could be around.
Yes.
He doesn't want to ask anything. So since mom is here, I'd rather ask her anything. And for, as you have another thing as mom, I have him, and I have a 5-month little girl. For him, I went so much through with him when he was little with his eyes. He had issues with his left foot that they told me when he was before walking that he wasn't going to be able to walk. And it's hard. And hard to go through it because I never talked about this with anyone else. So I know a lot of the parents and the kids didn't know that. So now that I've seen him running around and everything, it makes me feel so happy because, I mean, just imagine not even walking before a year and saying, oh, you know what, your son might not be able to walk good or never run. And now seeing him running and kicking the balls like crazy, now I get mad and I tell him, sit down. So I know your little will be good in the future. Just like you say, don't give up. And as a mother, we go through so much that sometimes a lot of dads might say, oh, we know. They don't know the feeling as a mom because we had them inside us. We go to appointments, we'll deal with everything. We have a bigger heart compared to the dads. I know the dads love them, but it's nothing compared like a mom. You know, you're doing an amazing job.
You know, they grew up in us, so I think the most important thing, doctors can tie you whatever they want to tie you. And I say that because they never encouraged me or talked to me about sign language. Instead, they tried to push the implant on me and tell me, like, he's not going to talk. He's not going to talk if you don't get the implant.
Instead of telling me, you can learn sign language, and he's going to communicate with you. And I see it now. You know, my son signs to me. He tells me, like, he tells the dog. He'd be like, dog, toilet, outside. He says that. You know, and to me, to see that now, it makes me so happy because they were trying to push the implant, not giving me the other side and tell me, you know, there's sign language. So I know, I understand what you mean. You know, you have to be involved as a parent, and if you're not, they're not going to be successful. It starts with us, you know, and thank you for doing that for your son.
I think that makes me think too, Kat, your story, having to advocate for yourself. Sometimes the doctors don't know best or aren't necessarily giving you the right
Sometimes
information.
you need to tell them what's best for you. I mean, you've lived in that body your entire life. They haven't. So sometimes you know better than they do, but telling them that you're smarter than they are, they don't always like that.
Thank you for sharing that story about your son. I'm thinking maybe in another 15 years you might be, or less, standing up here and telling your own stories. I'm sure all of you could do that. And I'm just watching you right now and seeing what great friends you are. And that's really important too, to have good people in your corner, your family and friends. I think we had one more question. I saw your hand. Go ahead.
I forgot your name, but the one that has fibromyalgia. When you first started off with your speech, it really affected me because you said that you went to close your eyes and pretend you're going through a dark tunnel, and at the end there's a light. I got diagnosed when I was 17 during 2020 with an autoimmune disease. I have Raynaud's, which I know fibromyalgia is an autoimmune disease, and I have a bunch of other issues as well as like kidney issues, and that's one of the reasons why I wasn't gonna come today. But I'm glad I did because I got to hear your topic. But when you mentioned the tunnel, due to my autoimmune disease, I had cardiac issues because of my Raynaud's, and I had a tilt table test, and I ended up having a 3rd-degree heart block, which resulted in sudden cardiac arrest at St. John's. And it was weird because I didn't know that I was in cardiac arrest. I just passed out, and I thought I was passed out, and I went through a dark tunnel, and there was a bright light at the end of that tunnel. And I ended up seeing my sister, who passed away from cardiac arrest. And it was always my dream to be a firefighter, if not a police officer, like a homicide detective. And my cardiologist told me that I would never be able to be a first responder. So it really affected me and hurted me a lot. And he said that I needed a pacemaker. So I told myself, I didn't want to get therapy. I fell into depression. So I told myself I'm not going to let anybody tell me what to do, especially a man. And because of that, I ended up signing up for fire protection classes and an EMT course, which was spring of 2022. Almost about a year after I had my 3rd-degree heart block. And I did the classes. I loved it. And I felt like since I wasn't stressing, my autoimmune wasn't affecting me as much, so I was at a really good point of my life. But then it started going downhill again, so I went back to taking psychology courses so I can do, like, maybe become a psychologist for military and first responders. But I live by this quote that Selena Quintanilla Perez says, if you have a dream, don't let anyone take it away, and always believe that the impossible is always possible. So for anybody here, the kids or you guys up there, if you have a dream, don't let anyone take it away, and never let someone tell you what you can and can't do.
Amen. Good for you. I'm proud of you. Good for you. Getting into a place where you realize you need help is hard, and putting yourself out there is hard. But honestly, having somebody to talk to that's just going to hear you and not just be like, yeah, okay, that's actually going to be actively helping you improve your life is a big thing. Just having somebody to talk to relieves a lot of stress and a lot of pressure off of you. And it's not easy finding a therapist. I went through 6 before I found one. And now I follow her everywhere. She moved from Oxnard to Ventura to Camarillo. I told her I will follow her to Antarctica. And I don't do good in cold weather at all. So I commend you. Thank you.
I think that's a great place to end this evening. Thank you all so much again for coming out tonight. And thank you again one last time to our speakers. Have a wonderful evening, everyone. Good night.